see, I remember that, and it's so funny because I remember vividly having a conversation with your moms over this. And what I said, and the question that I asked, I was really young at the time, and I asked, if you have a, let's say a drug dealer, and in this picture, like you have a picture of a drug dealer, and in the picture you have the drug dealer with the flyest clothes you can wear, expensive, the flyest car you see, and the baddest chick, and all the accessories of wealth and success, right? And then on the other hand, you have a basketball player, or let's say a lawyer or a doctor, and he has the finest clothes, the most expensive car you can see, and the finest girl. My question was, if the goal is these material objects, what difference does it make how you get it?
Right. That's right.
Because your mom at the time, she was saying that, these guys are not doing it the right way, or they're not gaining their riches and gaining their success from, doing it from a legitimate form, quote unquote, by society standard, a legitimate form. And my question was, well, if that's the goal, if we've all universally agreed that the goal is the car, the jewelry, the girls, and the money, then my question is, what difference does it make how you get it?
Right.
So if that's the goal, see, and that's the problem. If we're using those things as a goal, then it's very hard for us to sit back and judge people because they chose to go this route instead of the route that we went.
And that is and that paradigm is expressed in even in the so-called conscious rappers, because they still, again, were mixing material. Even Public Enemy is 98. He was talking about his car. He didn't overindulge in it in that conversation, but he was letting you know that in 98 he's riding the whip. How do you get this, Chuck? How
right.
do you get this? How do you get these things? If you're the drug dealers, I'm gonna show you how to get this. This is how you get it.
Right.
Right. You sell these drugs out here. That's how you're gonna get it.
And see, this is the thing that the conscious community, and I'm seeing this. The reason why I'm even talking about this, because I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it again, son. I'm seeing it again. And it's getting down to this whole, like I remember I haven't changed my position in how I feel about certain things, but I have changed my position in how I respond to certain things and what I do as a reaction to them. Like before, the natural hair thing. Now, we all know, we are conscious and we studied this, so we know the damaging effects of the perm and all of this. We know all of that. But the reality is a lot of our sisters, a great deal of our sisters out here rock that. So either we're going to understand that, you know what I'm saying, and not judge them because of who they are, or we're going to take a hard line and be like the damn Tea Party, where we're going to be right but totally isolated from the majority of our people. And this is the problem that we're having right now in the quote unquote conscious community. I always say quote unquote conscious community. I don't really use it. I use African centered.
Right. Because
African centered to me is less spooky and less, otherworldly and less, magic carpety.
There is an uncompromising. There is a compromise, and then the compromise turns against you. There has to be a line that you draw where you say, this is where we are, and you can't cross this line. It's sort of like someone creates rules in basketball. You have to invent your creativity within the confines of these rules.
Right. And you know what that is so cool. That is so correct, and I know what the line is. For me, the line is, do we agree that African people here in this country need a socioeconomic and political infrastructure? In other words, a.k.a. a nation of their own. Now, within that nation, we can argue and we can fight down all day, all long. We can get coffee and no-dos about what the methodology or the method that we're going to use to institute in terms of laws, in terms of rules, that's all up to discussion and all. That is a subject that I think is beyond both me and you. If you're going to do a nation, everybody has to be involved in that process. this is why when it comes to the way that America works, their whole thing is being involved. If you notice, what did JFK say? It's not what you can do, what your country can do for you. It's what you can do for your country.
Yeah.
But we never had a country. So we just been here, and we've been divorced from the political process because we never felt to be a part of it. But if we can agree that we all need a nation, then if we have a nation, then your ass has to be a part of that nation. And you can critique that nation. You can add your little 2 cents in the way you think it should be, but the context has got to be that nation. We have to have something of our own.
And no one, and you can't think, there's no one on a strong level. We had a lot of elders that spoke about nationhood, even in the midst of the Nation of Islam, which represented a black nation for us. I keep going back to them because I can't think of anyone else that rivaled that and saying, no, not that nation, black people, this nation.
Right. Right.
I don't know who is that.
There was none. You know,
there was none.
Unfortunately. And I have to say this, just speaking from my generation, because, you know, like a lot of people, like I remember Raj had pointed out to the previous generation before me, I can't speak for them. I can only speak for mine. And my generation is represented by the Jay-Z. Now, I just find it, ironic that Jay-Z is the most financially successful hip-hop artist ever, you know, coming from our community.
Right.
And has done more damage in terms of ideologically, socially, economically, and politically to our consciousness at the same time. So peep that.
Yeah.
You know, everybody wants to give him props for making a whole lot of money. All right, yeah, I give him props for being intelligent, being able to navigate through this stuff and make money in that industry and make money and be a successful black man. But at the same time, what is the price that was paid for that success?
Well,
at the expense of our community.
Yeah, because what he represented, what did Jay-Z do before he turned to the profession of rap? He sold drugs. So he sold death to the community. Therefore, he really didn't give a damn about the community was to be utilized for his well-being. Whatever he needed to sell or put the community on, that's what he would do to make money.
Right.
So the new thing was to come around, well, listen, we're doing this image remodeling, we're reshaping the image of your people and getting them into this materialism. It was like, great, what you need me to do? He called it audio crack. He said what he was selling was audio crack.
Mm-hmm. So
he was willing to do that, just like he was willing to stand in the corner and give people's mothers, people that he went to school with, their moms that just got caught up. Unfortunately, they got caught up in whatever they got caught up in the vice, and he was on the corner handing that crack rock to them.
And see, a strong, ignorant narrative will trump a weak, conscious message any day of the week.
Yeah.
Because while the ignorance they had a really strong narrative. It was like, yo, get this money, fuck all of that.
Right.
Get this money. This is what the real deal is. While they were doing that, this is what the conscious community was doing.
First of all, we must internalize the flatulation of the matter by transmitting the effervescence of the Indonesian proximity in order to further segregate the crux of my venereal infection. Now, if I may retain my liquids here for one moment, I'd like to continue the redundance of my quote-unquote intestinal tract, see, because to preclude on the issue of world domination would only circumcise the revelation that reflects the aphrodisiac symptoms which now perpetrates the Jericho's activation.
That's it, man.
Was that Cornel West?
I think that was.
Wow.
I think that was him. See, that's where we were. And that's the reason why if people want to wonder why I rail so hard on the conscious community, it's because we keep isolating ourselves from the masses of our people. And my thing is, if you're going to do that, and see, I don't necessarily have a problem if you're going to do that and you're doing something functional. Let's say we isolate ourselves and we take a real strong, either you down for this or you a bootlicking nigga. Okay, fine. What have you produced? Because Jay-Z has produced something with his ignorance. What have you produced with your knowledge except a bunch of rhetoric?